All right, today we are talking about the new SEO and AEO Formula for garage door companies. So we'll talk about the latest updates with the Google algorithm. I mean, they're updating all the time now, so there isn't that much to report other than it's always changing. But the focus today is really on how AI, answer engines, and AEO are shaking up the market. Things you may have put in place in the past that could be hurting you now, and then how to optimize your website using the new SEO and GEO formula. So we'll get right to it. And all of this is really part of our accelerated growth model, which intuitively makes sense. You're just driving leads, maximizing your conversion of those leads, and then optimizing the results. That's what we're doing here. And it's part of the accelerated growth roadmap, where each of these presentations covers various bits of this matrix here. And today we're honing in on organic. And it's all part of our digital dominance method. And all this is if you really want to dominate your area online, you need to do all of these things. You have to focus on SEO, you have to do paid ads, you want to invest in email, you want to build your repeat and referral business, invest in marketing automation, do social media, SEO and maps, and now new for 2025, AI. It's already having an impact, and we're really going to be talking about that today, and really in every monthly presentation we do, we will be talking about AI. So why should you listen to me? I wrote the book Online Marketing for Garage Door Companies. Version 3 is in progress and should be done next month, hopefully. Which just takes the learning that we've done working with dozens and dozens of garage door companies with garage door marketers. And I also founded and have been running just a generalist digital marketing agency since 2011. And so we've been doing this a long time. We've seen a lot of technology changes, and we've stayed in front of it. And we will continue to stay in front of it so that we get results for our clients, because this is a results business. And so we'll get right into it. Does SEO still matter? And you're all familiar with search engines. Look largely the same for a decade or more. And most of the clicks are still going to the maps and the first couple organic results. There's obviously action in the ads, but the vast majority is coming in these listings. So obviously, yes, SEO still matters. It will continue to matter. It will matter even as AI changes things, because all AI and these large language models are doing in large part is the same thing that search engines do, which is what is out there on the internet and how can you access it and find it. So AI is just a different way of approaching the same data. We'll interact with it differently, but it's fundamentally the same thing, which is your customers need someone to help them with their garage door system, and you want them to find you. And Google search engine is that bridge, largely. And AI is not going to change that. And we'll get into that too. So what is AEO and GEO? And these acronyms, I doubt they'll stick. I don't know what they're going to call this stuff. It might just get absorbed into SEO. SEO might get absorbed into whatever else this thing is. Who knows, and who cares? They're just words. The concepts are: answer engine optimization is really about optimizing your content so that you show up in those featured AI snippets. So there's featured snippets, now there's these AI summaries. And so figuring out how to optimize your content to show up in those summaries is important. Whereas GEO, generative engine optimization, is more getting your content to show up more broadly in AI-powered search. So it's a slight distinction. So for AEO, think of like if you do a search in Google, a lot of times now you're going to see like an AI summary at the top. Okay, voice assistants do this too, and even AI-generated responses that show up in ChatGPT that aren't search-powered. That's answer engine optimization. Generative engine optimization is showing up in the search-enabled things like that. So like the ChatGPT search, for example, which is different from the ChatGPT you're talking to the robot. Okay, Google will really meld all of these together. It's all their AI stuff is powered by their Gemini engine. Perplexity is a search type thing. which you'll see tech people starting to use it because it's more AI driven. Copilot for Microsoft is really just ChatGPT. They use OpenAI. There's other large language out there like DeepSeek. So the point is, your content is being ingested differently now for different purposes, and so you have to make adjustments to what you're doing, or you will have to make adjustments to what you're doing to account for that. And so you can see ChatGPT can pull up a maps-like result, and so you want to make sure you show up in that stuff. It's pretty simple. We don't really have good data yet. There's estimates, and like for Google search, those numbers are probably low. But it's not zero. There are people who are using these when you can get leads from it now, but it will be much bigger in the future. So you want to be aware of it and start making adjustments now. Google's still the king. They will remain the king. I don't care about OpenAI. I don't care about Microsoft. Microsoft had its chance with Bing. It still does nothing. OpenAI is not going to change that. They're not going to beat Google, and for the very simple reason, for the same reason that Microsoft Teams eventually beat Slack. Slack's still out there, but Microsoft just has massive market share, and it's just easier for enterprises to adopt Teams because they're already paying for it in their Office 365 subscription than to deal with Slack. Google already owns the vast majority of search, and they have the massive scale to roll out AI on top of that into their existing environment. And in fact, as of this recording in April, they have the top scored large language model. Google Gemini Pro 2.5 experimental is beating all the OpenAI models, is beating the Anthropic models, is beating the Chinese models. So Google has already passed them. And that just happened. First time they've topped the leaderboards. But it's not a surprise to me, and probably not a surprise to anybody else who's been watching this closely, because they have the scale, they have the teams, they have the resources, and they have to protect their business. They can't allow themselves to be defeated by these upstarts. They've got to protect their market share, so they're not messing around. They saw this coming years ago. So these other things like Perplexity and ChatGPT search, they'll take a bite out. The monopoly cases against Google might damage them, but they're not going away. They're going to remain strong. Their AI product's going to be very strong. It's going to have a strong user base for the same reason that Microsoft Teams beat Slack. There's a lot of Google Workspace users. There's a lot of Google Search users. And they're going to pick that AI because they're used to using Google. They don't want to switch to something weird that they're not familiar with. So sorry, Google's not going away. I wish it weren't so. Can't stand them. But they're here to stay. So, bottom line is, SEO still matters. This answer engine stuff isn't going to change it. Google's AI is going to be driven by the same SEO that is in here. They're going to integrate ads just like they do. Everyone else is too. You're going to see ads in AI. It hasn't come yet, but it will. So, you can't rely on pay-per-click alone. So what do? It's the same thing. You go back and watch this presentation I made last year. It's the same stuff. I would argue, though, that it's even more important now. Because generative AI, makes it so easy to mass produce content and make fake people and fake videos and fake images, and it's hilarious, the examples you see on the internet and on X. But people are going to use this to try to make like avatars to sell you stuff. Someone in another country is going to make some fake American talking video, acting like they're a business owner in your area, and try to sell you garage door services from some made-up person. And it'll probably work somewhat, but what's really going to work, because people aren't going to like that. They're going to have a bad experience. They're going to be mad. So how do, places like Google respond to that? Well, they rely on expertise, authority, and trust. Are you a real person with a real business in this area? Well, if you're recording YouTube videos and your expertise is referenced in other websites, backlinking back to things like this. So the same things that are effective in normal SEO will also distinguish you in a post-AI SEO world. Because at the end of the day, people's needs haven't changed, regardless of what the technology is. The guy who needs his garage door fixed wants to work with someone close to him who's reputable, real, and isn't going to do a bad job or rip him off. And AI changes none of that. Okay? So your job as a garage door business owner is to make sure that you have the expertise and you build your authority and trust in the marketplace the same way you have been doing already. And that's going to protect you in the AI regime. Okay? And you can see it when you look at ChatGPT's criteria for inclusion. Customer ratings and reviews, years in business experience, so on and so forth. That's experience, authority, and trust right there. Okay? So the new SEO formula is the same as the old SEO formula with some slight modifications. And it's just too new to make big changes yet. Don't overreact. The one thing I will say here is keywords are already on their way out. It's concepts, it's entities, but the difference between a keyword and an entity is difficult and nuanced to explain. A garage door is still a garage door. A garage door opener is still a garage door opener. Garage door opener repair is still garage door opener repair. So just don't get too hung up on keywords. Just understand what you're talking about, and for the dedicated page for that keyword or concept, broaden and deepen your coverage of that concept, and make sure you add expertise, and trust and authority to the extent that you can. For example, if you have a page about garage door spring repair, if you record a YouTube video showing your crew repairing a garage door spring, that would be a great thing to embed on that service page. Now, that's a lot of work, but we're going to get to a point where that's the kind of stuff we're going to want to be doing to really help us stand out in the marketplace. So put that in the back of your mind. That's where it's going to go. All right, as far as AEO, you should already really be doing this in your SEO, but because you're going after featured snippets, right? What are featured snippets? And they're asking questions and things like that a lot of the time. So, just do the things you're already doing. You just have to do more of it. And fortunately, it's easier than ever because you can have AI to churn out the content for you, and then you can edit it and make sure it's correct. Okay? So, if you want to... I don't know why my camera does this. It's really quite irritating. If you want a list of garage door keywords, just hop over to offers.garagedoormarketers.com/keyword-list. For some of the keywords that we've seen to be particularly helpful in the marketplace, you can download it. I don't think it's gated, but even if it is, chances are you're seeing this because you're on our email list, and so we already have your email. And if you give us your email, we're just going to send you a newsletter once a month, so, whatever. We're not going to spam you because that's annoying. Grab the list. As far as just old-fashioned SEO stuff, still the same. Do the correct on-site optimization. Make sure your pages have outline format, H1, H2, H3, things like that. Have the name, address, and footer. Have a good user experience. Have a good technical experience. Don't overdo it. Don't run these stupid audit things that tell you there's 8,000 things wrong with your page. Won't move your rankings at all. No one cares. Don't do that stuff. It's just a scam. Page speed is good. Have good page speed. But all these things, all this technical stuff, all you really need to care about is you go into your Google Search Console and look at your core web vitals. And if Google is telling you you have a problem with your core web vitals, then you got something to fix. If Google says that your core web vitals are fine, you probably don't. Could it always be better? Yes. Is it worth your time? Don't know. Okay, so these are just examples of ranking things. I don't want to get into all this. All this information is out there. It's easy to find. Just have good on-page optimization. And if you want to learn more about that, schedule a call with us or have us help you. There's literally millions of pages on this. I'm not going to go through all that. For off-page SEO, make sure you have claimed, optimized Google Business Profile listing, of course. Get your citations, name, address, phone. Get your reviews, build authoritative links. The one thing I will say here, the most valuable links now are local links. Your Chamber of Commerce link, If you sponsor a local Little League team, whatever, any links you can get locally, get on local news programs, those are strong links, especially as AI, the generative engine people, if they start indexing things and start looking at, well, okay, and even Google, this local company doesn't have a lot of local backlinks, well, then it's an authoritative local company, right? These things just make sense if you think about it. Okay? So, the bottom line takeaway for what's important in SEO now, just remember expertise, authority, and trust. In any way that you can improve your expertise, or your visible expertise, I should say, how-to videos, explainers, things, certifications, things that show you know what you're doing, good. Authority, get on your local news. They have like Saturday shows you can pay. I don't know what it costs. You can pay to be interviewed on these goofy shows. There's value to that. Do it. That gives you authority and trust. Okay, because Google trusts those properties. Probably shouldn't. We all know about news and how fake it is, but Google doesn't care. So go with it. So go to our site if you want, garagemarketers.com. Get the SEO checklist. Just good basic stuff to do to get your page right. And, of course, you can always talk to us directly. We do a market report, so I used AI to help me write a program that does a nice market report. Looks at you, looks at your competitors, looks at your maps, looks at who's running ads, what ads they're running, what keywords they're running ads on, what the review situations look like, what your audit looks, all this stuff. It's useful information to get a sense of what's going on in your market, what the opportunities are. So we'll look at that for you for free. Talk about where opportunities might be to help you improve things. So go to garagemarketers.com/apply-now to do that, or just give us a call, and we'd be happy to talk to you and schedule that. So that's all I wanted to cover today. Hope it was helpful, and we will see you next month.